What's going on? It's Sunny here, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to stop overthinking. We're going to get to the source of what causes you to overthink and why you can't stop it. And I'm going to give you the only two real solutions that are long-term actual solutions, not just temporary fixes to this overthinking problem of yours. Okay, so let's get right into it. The habit of overthinking is caused by being in a state of object referral. And what object referral means is that, number one, you are identified with your mind, meaning you think that your mind is you. You think that the thoughts are you. And you are constantly identifying with the objects that appear in your life, in your awareness. You are constantly identifying with the titles, whatever your job title may be, whatever your title in life may be, like mother, son, whatever. And you are constantly judging yourself based on the things that you see. So if you have a nice car, you'll feel good about yourself. If you have a flourishing relationship, you'll feel good about yourself. But when things start to disappear from your life, you'll start to go in a state of depression and just feel really bad about your life overall. So this is a state of object referral where your internal reference point is your mind and the objects that you see in your reality. So you see, when you're living in a state of object referral, you are constantly trying to control everything. You are constantly judging your sense of self-worth based on the things that are currently present. And everything, all your thoughts, all your motives are fear-based. They are coming from the source of wanting to enhance your power in this subject-object relationship that you've got going on, where you are the subject and the objects in your life are what are making you feel good. Everything is fear-based because you have to enhance your power and you have to eliminate threats that threaten your power. And you have to make sure that you maintain a certain level of, nice objects or a certain amount of self-worth so that you can feel good about yourself constantly. So it's a state of constantly trying to avoid the bad and chase the good. And because it is all fear-based, it creates that incessant thought activity, all with the purpose of securing the things in your life, the objects in your life, the people in your life. And because it is all fear-based, it actually ends up producing the opposite effect all the time. It actually creates more of that same fear type of energy in your life. And it's a problematic life, and which causes the further need to overthink. And because you are so identified with your mind in this state of living, you think that you need to think about your problems in order to solve them. And so further, now there's just so much turbulent thought activity. And it's a problem that continues to feed into each other from both ends. It's a loop that never ends. So what's the solution to this? You have to go into the state of self-referral. Rather than object referral, self-referral is when you are no longer identified with your mind, with the constant thoughts that you are experiencing. In self-referral, your internal reference point is your self, is your awareness. Notice how if you really wanted to stop thinking for just 2 seconds, you can do so. And when you're in that state, when you're no longer thinking, just even if it's for like 5 seconds, you still remain. So see, in object referral, you constantly have to create thoughts because you think that that is you. And thoughts are needed to survive, to solve your problems, to live a successful life. But in self-referral, you realize that thoughts aren't you. Thoughts are just happening into your awareness. And you can choose to give them all your attention, but that's not you. And so when you do pause your thoughts, a sense of you still remains. What is that sense? That is the real you, the awareness within which the thoughts are coming and going, within which the objects of your life are coming and going. So see, in self-referral, you are constantly based. It's a foundation. You've built that foundation and you're based in that foundation of actual self-awareness, where now your internal reference point is your awareness within which everything happens. And this awareness is the infinite creativity through which everything comes into existence. It is the peace that you feel when your thoughts are subsided, when there's less mind, or when your thoughts are more of a harmonious nature. And so when you are in self-referral, instead of having all your motives and actions be fear-based, they are love-based. You no longer try to secure and control things on the outside. You allow that to be controlled by the natural intelligence that makes the sun come up every single morning. The natural intelligence that makes a baby out of nothing, that natural intelligence that helps you grow into the person you are today. Everything can be taken care of with a lot more ease if you got out of object referral into self-referral. And when you are in that state of ease, because your internal reference point is the self, is the awareness, the soul, you can say, there is no need for constant thinking. And when constant thinking appears, you can start to let it go. Okay? So obviously this is not an instant fix. So how can you actually start to cultivate a state of self-referral? Number one, you have to start to meditate. I cannot emphasize the importance of meditation enough if you actually want to let go of overthinking and want to start gaining control of your life, if you want to start realizing more of who you actually are as the self rather than the ego identity, the mind. And so I can tell you from my experience, I used to be the biggest overthinker. I used to overthink everything. I used to have all sorts of anxiety, all sorts of low self-esteem thoughts about myself. And I was constantly just trying to control and manipulate the outside so that I could enhance my self-esteem. But it was just like an insecure way of living. And it required a lot of energy, a lot of thoughts, and it was just all waste. It never brought me any happiness or satisfaction or fulfillment, because the mind, the ego, is never satisfied. Only when I started to meditate and started to cultivate this practice where every single day I started with just 15 minutes, and I started to realize more and more that, oh, I can go without thinking, right? Like, thinking is not needed to live. In the beginning, it was just a couple of seconds at a time where I would just focus on the guided meditation that I was doing. And, maybe the thoughts wouldn't come for seconds at a time, and then they would come back in. But you keep prolonging that gap more and more. And you start to notice the awareness that remains within that gap when thoughts no longer are there. And you start to realize that, oh, that is the decision maker. That is me, not the thoughts that clouded the actual me. Right? You are the sun that's shining bright forth through the clouds. But because you had so many clouds on the surface, you started to think that you were the clouds. But now you actually start to see the sunlight. You start to wake up to your true nature. And through that awareness, you start to let go of so many thoughts. Naturally, your thoughts are more of a calm manner now. It's just not constant turbulent thought activity. And when that does happen to you, you know to take a step back and just go meditate for a little while, or just go be and just, not engage with those thoughts. You learn how to, throughout your day, constantly disengage with thoughts. See, thoughts impose on us a false assumption that those thoughts are necessary, that you need to be thinking those thoughts right now to solve a particular problem or to secure a particular outcome. But once you actually start to live in a state of self-referral and you start to disengage from the thoughts, you start to learn that the more you actually disengage from the thoughts and let them go, a natural intelligence flows through you that controls your actions, which is infinitely more intelligent than your mind. And you start to have more harmony in your life, start to have more well-being in your life. Things start to take care of themselves. You no longer have a need of such a sharp intellect, because that intelligence starts to take care of everything. That is you. That is the real you. Whereas this little tiny you that you think in a large world, this little mind, is powerless. It constantly tries to control, not realizing that it cannot control. And then it gets in a state of fear because it cannot control. But the more and more you start to trust the self and you start to let go, automatically these thoughts subside. This is the real source of overthinking, needing to control, needing to have everything be fear-based. So once you go to self-referral and start living through that state, fear subsides and there is no longer a need for so many countless thoughts of control and manipulation. In that state of love that you start to cultivate, like your entire experience starts to vibrate more at the frequency of love. In that frequency, in that vibration, thoughts of fear cannot exist because they are of a much lower frequency. And so they naturally fade away. And then you like come, you think like, oh, I don't even think fearful thoughts anymore as much. And when you do think them, you naturally know how to disengage from them. So what is the second solution that you can help yourself go into a state of self-referral with? So meditation is one, right? This is something that you do like an actual practice, not something that, it's something that you actually have to sit down and just do. Like close your eyes and just be. You can do guided meditation, you can do silence, you can do anything that you like. However, with the second practice, you have to go throughout your day and consciously disengage with thoughts when you are experiencing that overthinking. Now, when I say letting go of thoughts, I remember when I heard this earlier on in my journey, I was so confused. Like, how do you let go of thoughts? And then I would start to think about letting go of thoughts, and it's just like more thinking. You can't get rid of thoughts with more thinking. What letting go of thoughts mean is to redirect your attention away from the thoughts back onto an internal reference point. So you can choose what that is for you. You can either have it be your breath, the sound of your breath or the feeling, or you can have that be the sensation of your body, right? Like just focus on how your body feels. Just become very alert about, feeling your hands without touching them. Just like feel your hands. It's not something you can think about. It's only something that it's a feeling that you have to activate. Feel your hands, the outside layer of your hands. So this is where, let's just say you're thinking throughout the day and you realize, I was thinking constantly. Come back to your reference point. So it's almost like as soon as you divert your attention back to, let's say, your breath or the feeling of your body, automatically the thought leaves. It's because the thought needs your attention to survive and keep going. You give the thoughts your energy, your attention. That's why they keep multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. But as soon as you take your attention away from them, they just poof, vanish. And all that remains is you. And the longer you do this, the more you do this, the longer those gaps become, the freer you become of all these unnecessary thoughts that create the illusion of control, but actually lead to the opposite of the outcome that you are trying to secure all the time. And you become you come into a state of self-referral where now you can start to let go of control and actually through that gain actual real control over your life, because things naturally start to come into existence. Your goals start to fulfill themselves and your life becomes an effortless manifestation of the self, which is trying to shine through you at all times, but you are blocking it by constant overthinking and trying to control through the small self, which is the mind. So if you want to go from the small self and start to merge with the higher self and start allowing the higher self through its infinite intelligence to take care of all your life, start to meditate every single day and start to live your day with conscious awareness where you notice yourself and catch yourself again and again and again, overthinking, thinking, and then just letting those thoughts go. How? By redirecting your focus to a reference point. It could be your breath, it could be the feeling of your body sitting on this chair, it could be anything. But you decide what that is for you. Start with guided meditation if that's what you have to do, but you have to do some type of meditation. Meditation is the key which unlocks the door to your infinite potential. It is the key to the prison cell that you have around you right now that is created by your own mind. If you want the clouds to go away and you want the sunlight to shine through, and take care of everything in your life and make your life fun, loving, more enjoyable, a place where you don't have to constantly fight to secure your well-being and self-worth, then meditate and live life with conscious awareness. And overthinking soon won't even be an issue for you. And you'll think back to the days where you used to constantly overthink. And it'll be funny to you. And maybe you can help other people to not overthink at that time. I'm currently teaching how to grow this self-awareness and go into a state of self-referral through which you can create the life you truly want to live through a higher consciousness mindset. I'm teaching this in my one-on-one coaching program. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link in the description box below and schedule a free call with me in which we discuss if it's the right fit for us to work together and how I can be of help to you. All right, other than that, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and I will see you in the next video.